Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Run.Down. I'm your host, Tyrese, joining you after Game 5 of the series between the Knicks and the Pistons. Bit of a heartbreaker. The Knicks lose 106 to 103. Very questionable last 5 minutes of the game, I want to say. A lot of malpractice from coaching, a lot of malpractice from people leaving the boards open and giving up a lot of second chance opportunities. A bit of injury with Brunson and with Josh Hart. And I think a lot of underperformance from some key members of the Knicks as well. I think that fourth quarter was kind of an amalgamation of a lot of what has killed the Knicks, which is very bad situational awareness. They just could not secure the boards that they needed to secure. Jalen Duren had 7 offensive rebounds. They kind of just got killed in the glass. And while Mitchell Robinson was able to help, he couldn't stay on the floor due to foul trouble and due to the fact that they were playing Hakamich. And yeah, there's a lot that I've taken away from this game. I think the main one I would say is the Knicks just, for how talented this team is, the fact that they have these games where they just completely play down the competition and completely look inept, especially coming out the second half, is just not something that should be happening with this team, with this talent. And again, that just kind of feels like coaching. I haven't even brought up the biggest play of the game, which was Tom Thibodeau deciding not to use his timeout when Jalen Brunson got hurt. And for whatever reason, deciding to hold it. Yeah, I just there's a lot I can talk about with this game. There's a lot that is not positive, and it just kind of sucks that the series is going to 6 when it really should be over. But I mean, I think credit should be given where credit is due. I think Josh Hart had a pretty strong game. I think OG Anunoby had a pretty strong game, especially defensively on Cade Cunningham. But yeah, I think your two best guys were unable to get it done. Karl Towns with 17 and 11, 5-14 from the field, 2-4 from 3, 5-6 from the free throw line. Not good enough in the closeout game. Jalen Brunson, 4-16 from the field, 1-4 from 3, 7-10 from the line. Again, not good enough in the closeout game. Mikal Bridges struggles as well. Not good in the closeout game. Just not the performance that you need to have in a closeout game. I thought Mitchell Robinson played excellent basketball, despite the fact that they were actively trying to get him out of the game. I thought he was able to hold up well enough. And as evidenced by the picture hanging in the side of the stream, yeah, I mean, you guys know how I feel about Deuce McBride. I don't care about the on-off. I don't care about the metrics. Deuce McBride was a +9 in his minutes. I think everybody who's here watched that game. I don't think you can say that his plus-minus absolutely reflected his performance. I think that he needs to be better. I think that he has struggled this entire series with the Pistons' length, their physicality. The defense has not been as prevalent as it needs to be. And it is hard because you need to give him minutes because there's nobody else to play. And then when the Knicks have a chance to at least create a situation where maybe they're down 1 and you play the free throw game, he misses the first free throw. Just cannot do that. Cannot have that happen. He's been bad. He's been bad for the entire calendar year. I have said it repeatedly here. I have said it repeatedly on Twitter. I have made my point very clear, and you can show me metrics. They don't matter in playoffs. You can show me how he's helping shot quality and how he's helping at the point of attack. Has not mattered at all this series. Pistons don't even care when he has the ball. I just don't. I don't care for his performance, and I don't care that he makes $4.7 million because that $4.7 million is equivalent to how many points he had. He had 1 point for every $1 million that he makes, with $700,000 to spare. That's how I feel. Zoning permit. This coach is officially out of ideas. I agree. I just think he looks pretty lifeless. I think the consistent failure to have the team prepared coming out of the second half is something that is worrying. I think all season he has relied on Jalen Brunson being a top 10 player in the NBA and Karl-Anthony Towns being a top 15 player in the NBA to mask a lot of the shortcomings that he has as a coach. I think the fact that he held that timeout for no reason whatsoever was malpractice. Even if you're going to be down a timeout, you need to give your best player a chance to get in the game. It makes no sense for you to play an extended stretch where you are down, I believe, 1 at the time, and you decide to have 2 guys waiting at the scorer's table, waiting to get into the game, your 2 best players, and you are holding on to a timeout and letting Cam Payne and Mikal Bridges get shots up. That is malpractice. That's malpractice. You cannot do that. You have a chance to close out a game. You have a chance to close a series, and you're letting your best player and one of the more prevalent players in the series straight up not get into the game. That can't happen. That cannot happen. John Leary, just like concerned, the team struggles for most with a 44-win team without Stewart or Ivy, just not good enough. I agree. I mean, the performance hasn't been good enough. They haven't played to the level that they should be playing at. I mean, you know that Boston is coming. And it seems like, I think right now, Boston is blowing out Orlando. So, you know what's happening. This is a tweet from Fred Katz, by the way. Tom Thibodeau said he didn't call a timeout to get Brunson and Hart back into the game earlier because of where we were with the timeouts. Coach's decision. Again, like, you cannot go down with that timeout in your back pocket and save it for when the Pistons go up 6. That's just silly. You have to get your best player in the game. You have to. Offense is too talented to struggle this much. Third quarters are a mess. I mean, partly due to the fact that a lot of these guys can't generate good looks, partly due to the fact that when Jalen Brunson isn't shot making the way he's supposed to be shot making, the team struggles to generate offense. Partly because not a lot of guys on this team are able to do anything with the ball in their hands in a half-court setting against playoff-level defenses, which is probably the major flaw of this team. And also, they just don't take enough threes. They took 25 threes out of 90 shots. Not a good ratio. You shot 36%. That's not a bad effort as a team. It just kind of feels like there was no desire to take high-quality shots and instead force it to the rim against a team that has been stuffing you at the rim all season. I don't understand that logic. I don't understand what the point was. And, yeah, again, just coaching malpractice for me. Starting fives would probably play less minutes together, and that rating just isn't there. You can't play anybody else. Like, this is the problem. You can't play anybody else. The only pivot is Mitch. And Mitch is talented, but they've also been doing hack and Mitch to get him off the floor. Like, there's nobody else they can really go to because the guy who's supposed to be their sixth man is doing this. So I agree that they need to switch up the lineups, but they can't really do anything. They don't have any pivots. It sucks, but it's also like, where are they going to get bread production? Where are they going to switch up the lineups? Cade hasn't even had a great series. It's amazing we have trouble putting the same away. Yeah, I mean, you have Tobias Harris having the series of his life. Asar Thompson had 22 points tonight. I will say that the free throw disparity was absolutely insane. Like +9 on free throws. That second half was just like a joke. But yeah, like there's just nothing there. There's not a lot of buttons they could push, unfortunately. H22, Deuce can fuck off. Man, can't shoot, can't defend. Like, what is he doing on the floor? Yeah, like, your sixth man decided to essentially crap his pants. Not did I say that this was going to happen? Yes, I did. But your sixth man decided to crap his pants. So, yeah. What a game. What a game. Retro coaching sucks, but his team also sucks too. Fire him, optimize, but there's something deeply wrong with this group. They haven't been optimized. They haven't been optimized. I can't say this team sucks until they've been optimized, and they haven't been optimized. Until they're optimized, and I can see this team with like a modern coach with a modern philosophy on offense and a modern philosophy on spacing. I can't say this team sucks. I think the coach sucks. I think if you go to 7 with the Pistons and then you end up getting bounced in 5 to the Celtics, he's getting fired. If he won this game, at least you could say, you know what, we beat the Pistons, we did what we were supposed to do, and then we lost to the Celtics. But there's a chance that Brunson doesn't even play. Like, we'll see how bad the injury is. But Brunson was grimacing and laboring on that ankle again. I don't think he could go 4 playoff rounds on that ankle. And I don't know I don't think they're going to get past the Celtics. So I am not willing to give up on this team until I see them with a better coach. Hayase Eel. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry. Get this fucking coach out of here. Agreed. Mikal Bridges in the fourth quarter of Game 5. It's Knicks fall short. 13 points, 5 of 8. Field goal, 2 of 3 from 3. I mean, too little, too late. That nice 3 curling out of bounds to kind of to make it interesting was nice, though. But this team just needs more juice quarters 1, 2, 3. And you can't just rely on Jalen Brunson being able to score 15 points in the fourth quarter to get by the Pistons. John Leary, I really don't know how this could come back even if they win this series. I agree. Like, this has just been too close. It's been too close. And you've had opportunities to win both Game 2 and Game 5, and somehow you haven't been able to do it. If this goes 7, like, there's no way you could justify keep bringing him back. The fact this is going 6, you can't justify bringing him back. Team didn't come out with no energy whatsoever. Only players that came out with energy was Hart and OG. I heard. All right. Sorry, guys. Working on getting somebody in here. Hey, buddy.
What's going on, man? I hear that I think that we're questioning some things, and I didn't hear everything that you brought up, but it sounds like Tibbs is getting some heat, and I want to get in on that because there were a number of things late, but not just late. So first big picture stuff, and then like last minute stuff, because there was a million things in the last minute that were making me scream at my television. It would be nice, particularly against a team like Detroit, that is not a bunch of like high scoring, high up flying, high tempo guys. Like if the Knicks could play more than one tempo on offense, that would be nice. Everything seems to be like you bring the ball down and pretty much Brunson dribbles it until about 11 seconds left, and then they go into the and it's every single time. I don't think that plays to their favor. The fact that this game was in the low 90s with a couple minutes left, that's to Detroit's benefit. And the Knicks should have enough top-end talent, I feel, over them. Well, okay, I don't want to make that point. That's a different point. So did you talk about when you saw Hart and Brunson both leave, was any part of you surprised that like 2 seconds later they were coming back in? Not in terms of like obviously they want to, but if they were so debilitated that like they had to leave in crunch time. To me, I'm thinking like, you know what? I paying McBride 100%. I know they've struggled, but like they have to leave the game because they're so beat up. Then okay, now you're going to bring them back in because apparently you have to get them back in. You somehow let multiple possessions with the ball run by where you don't call timeout. You like if it's so important that you have to get them back in, despite the obvious pain that they're in, then how the hell do you not call a timeout in that situation to get them back in the game? Then, so first you get them back in, which I'm not understanding. Then you're delayed getting them back in. Then with like the biggest moment of your season to date happening, where you need rebounding, you're gonna pull the guy who was second in the league in rebound. Like you need all the 7-footers out there. He was gonna pull Towns. I don't know if there was confusion or if this was the initial substitution, but like Towns was leaving when Robinson came in with about 2 seconds left before Deuce took the second free throw. And then, like after some initial confusion, then Towns came back in and Bridges finally left. But like a different coach, I would give the benefit of the doubt, but like I wasn't loving the way Tibbs was handling this game, like very late. And then just a lot to me, like there was something very, very symbolic about everything's going wrong. And yet, okay, you get this. Deuce misses the free throw perfectly, and your two bigs manage to make a scramble, and they manage to tip the ball out, and it's straight out of like Lakers Kings Game 5 when Shaq tips it out to Ori. Like it's right to the center. It's a perfect tap out. I'm all excited because obviously the ball is bouncing out to someone who's going to have a wide open three, and there's nobody there. And I've had a sense watching this team in the series. I still think they're going to win this series. I don't think this game changes that for me. But like, there's a player missing. There's someone missing that's not quite here if this is a title contender. And I don't feel they had to make that big of a step in 1 year. But like Hart, McBride, Mitch are all very nice players who have significant enough limitations in some way that they should not be as imperative as they are for this team. The Knicks can't really function without any of them. And yet all three of them, like, they're all slotted a little too high. And I just thought the last second there was something very symbolic about the ball tapping out for a perfect follow-up, but there was, like, actually nobody there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, you're looking at a series where I think Josh Hart, again, played 35 minutes to – I don't want to say Tibbs' credit, but he played 35 minutes. I do think a big part of that was the fact that Mitchell Robinson is healthy.
Yep.
This team just needs bench offense desperately. Desperately. They have just not – like, Mitchell Robinson basically had the best bench game – well, no, second best bench game of the series. And they were trying to intentionally foul him. Like –
yeah.
Again, I don't want to harp on Deuce. I mean, I think I've made it very prevalent how I feel about Deuce, but it's also like he is supposed to be that guy. He is supposed to be the source of offense on the bench. And the entire season, the Knicks have struggled with bench offense. And people keep pointing to Cam Payne and Landry Shamet. And it's like, those guys are doing their jobs. They're minimum players.
Yep.
Where it falls is Deuce. It falls on Deuce. The fact that he can't be that level of scorer. He also can't facilitate, which makes it a lot harder to fit him on a roster like this, especially when the best player in the team is the same height as him. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because he just does not have a lot of ways to score. He isn't efficient at scoring, and they need him to be a much more prominent player than he is. And the fact that he isn't makes it a lot harder to generate offense, especially in these moments where your two stars are struggling.
Yeah, if there was, if he could go into the offseason and just develop some kind of it's not just as simple as one thing, but like if he had a reliable step back, if he had some kind of an off the dribble like assistance thing. Part of the issue though is like because of the way the team is constructed, like financially and with all the apron rules now and the CBA stuff, like this is kind of the best the Knicks can do. Like I wish they had a better sixth man than Miles McBride. How many better options are there around the league at his price point?
I think there are a lot. I
Yeah?
think there are a lot because I think you look at someone like Gary Trent Jr. I know he had a flub today, but like they kind of just
before the flub.
Yeah, like he had a series-ending flub, but
yeah,
like you kind of need somebody who could just like come in and hit shots, and he can't do that. I mean, but you see like a lot of guys around the league, like Malik Beasley's making $6 million this year. He was on a minimum last year with the Bucks. Ty Jerome is making like $2.6 million. I think you see like a lot of guys getting squeezed out. Like I'm not getting deep into the CBA, but a lot of guys are getting squeezed out in terms of salary structure because teams are trying to develop their draft picks and they aren't really wasting time on microwave scorers who can't really do much. So like those guys become available to contenders. Like I think of Malik Monk a couple of years ago where he was on a minimum contract. He went to the Lakers. I think there will be opportunities for the Knicks to kind of get that guy with the, either with a vet minimum or the taxpayer mid-level exception. But yeah, like it's very clear that the Knicks need some sort of offense, and they also need to create better looks. And part of that is getting Brunson off the ball and being able to play him next to another initiator, which again sucks that Deuce can't do that because if Deuce was able to at least run the offense while Brunson got to play off ball, he'd be a lot more promising. The fact that he can't score the way he needs to score or run offense the way he needs to run offense for somebody his size just makes him such a difficult fit. But you're seeing him play basketball.
When you mention names like Trent and Monk, it makes me think of, I guess, the related question, which is like, I don't know that this coach is going to want to play guys who are better shooters but probably lesser defenders. But then that gets to the question of, I mean, look, if the Knicks win the series, they win the series. If they don't win the series, like, conversation needs to be had. Like, let me put it this way. Is there a coach out there right now that's available that if you could, like, you would say right now, I'll take that guy over Tibbs right now? Available. Not like a Spoelstra or somebody, but like, is Mike Malone someone that you're like, yep, like that's a big enough upgrade that I'm ready to go for that now? I don't even know if it's how realistic it is that this front office would make that move, just given all the close ties between everyone there. But I'm just curious if there's someone out there that you're like, oh man, that would be worth it.
I mean, I don't really know about like any dudes off the top of my head. I don't really think Mike Malone does anything for this roster. I think the Nuggets and the Knicks are very similar, where they're very top heavy. And I think you're seeing the way Adelman is managing minutes. Like the philosophy of that team is very similar to the way the Knicks philosophy is. So I don't really think you're getting much from Malone. Excuse me. But yeah, like I don't know coaches off the top of my head, but I just kind of feel like they need it's time. It just feels like it's time.
It does seem like it.
Sorry, I'm going to get to the super chat really quickly. Brian Benjamin, 199. Thank you for your support. JB's looking like a better coach right now.
JB almost fucked up his third challenge in a row and then got a tech on top of it. JB's had some good moments, but JB's not having the series of his life either, man.
Yeah, I don't think JB is looking like a better coach. I just think Tom Thibodeau is selling, but I don't think he's looking like a better coach. I don't think he's coached really well at all.
Cade played better than Brunson. That's why Bickerstaff looks better today than Thibodeau.
Yeah. And it was like he barely played better than Brunson. More than anything, it's like Tobias Harris.
Yeah, and like, Thompson.
Yeah, and Asar Thompson basically able to like be super impactful in his minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Duren got 7 offensive rebounds.
He was killing him tonight. Every time it was a big. He was killing him, man.
Yeah, like he absolutely destroyed them, and they had no answer for his rebounding.
Yeah,
like even though they out rebounded the Pistons, like, and they got more offensive rebounding, like Mitchell Robinson was able to really handle Durant. I mean, I'd argue you probably should just start Mitch. Like, you kind of need to handle Durant. I think Durant has been their second best player this entire series, just because his rebounding has made it so much more difficult to get involved, like get into their sets.
Yeah. Plus, offensively for them, like, they need Tobias Harris to be a scorer for them. They can't just, like, they don't want him defending Towns, 15 minutes a game because Duren's on the bench. Like,
yes,
he means a lot for them to be out there.
I agree. Like, Durant has been a monster of the series.
Yeah.
And the Knicks just have not been able to have an answer for him when Mitch is off the court.
No, it's weird. I wrote about this in a I think a recap the other day. The Knicks have, I would say, like 4 of the 5 best players in the series, but the Pistons have way more guys who have stepped up, I think, over the course of the series. The Knicks have won because Brunson's been awesome and Towns has been awesome and OG's been like awesome for a half. But like Juice, Payne had a good, fourth and that. But like Schroeder, Thompson tonight, Harris on both ends at various points, Beasley at certain points. They're not as good as the Knicks, but like I feel like they have more guys that have played above their heads than the Knicks have.
I agree. Yeah. Let's go to some more comments here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you guys for supporting. Ashmaster, I can see the piss running down Deuce's leg on that first free throw.
I was looking for anyone I could find. I knew Deuce was missing that first one too, man.
Yeah,
I knew it in my bones.
Yep. And it's like, the thing is, they almost got the 5 seconds the first time, and then Brunson gets the ball and then like tries to spike it off of, I think it was Schroeder.
Yeah,
and then they could have at least secured it, but then Cat doesn't secure it, and then they have to foul.
Yep.
And then OG hits a prayer.
Yep.
Just like, even though like they lost this game, it was so like you could clearly tell like if the Knicks just executed a little better, this is not a situation. The fact that the Knicks basically need to play like absolute dog shit to give the Pistons a chance, just shows you the difference between these two teams. The problem is the Knicks are consistently playing like dog shit, and it's just not feasible as to why this team is struggling against the Pistons.
Yeah, and Adam Silver, because I know that you're listening, I just want to mention that many years ago, the NHL had an issue with something called the neutral zone trap, which was really, really effective for winning, but it sucked for actually watching hockey, and you had to get rid of it because the Devils were threatening to like make hockey unwatchable. There needs to be a conversation at the highest levels in the NBA about getting rid of this shit where I understand the math. I don't need teams fouling up 3 with 2 seconds left because it's the smart play to make. Like, I'm watching this to be entertained. I'm watching this for drama. I'm watching this for memories. I don't want to remember Miles McBride making or not making free throws. Like, I hate when a team is down 3 and the announcers are like, call it. We're here to be entertained, man. I was so pissed. Now, admittedly, if the Knicks were up 3 in that spot, it might have bothered me less. But I was so pissed when that happened. And there was still, this was one of those losses that was such anguish because like when Bridges took that curling 3 in the corner, I was yelling. There was no way he was going to make it. It was a dumb shot. I'm pissed at him. Okay, cool. And then the one that OG made, a really tough shot, kind of from a standstill over Cunningham. Same thing. I thought there's no way he's going to make it. And then, Deuce is gonna miss the first one, which he does. But there's that little there's always hope until there isn't. And there was literally hope until the ball took one bounce too many, and I realized there is nobody there. Just lose, man. Don't drag me through this like this if you're gonna lose. This was kind of an excruciating loss for a loss that I don't think was that meaningful. I don't think they're gonna lose the series, but this was a pretty gruesome loss. This was like Philly. This was like Philly Game 5 last year. Not as excruciating because you didn't have Mitch doing that freaking 4-point assault of Maxey to send it to overtime. But all day I was like, if they lose this game tonight, it's going to be a rough pill to swallow. And right now it is. Because I'm sure the Celtics are going to win. And I'm sure they're going to be kicking back, relaxing, healing up from that series. And for the millionth time in my life, if the Knicks could have just won a game tonight, they could have rested a bit. They could have had some practice. They could have, and instead they got to go back to that freaking building. I got to see Jalen Rose 19 more times on my TV. I don't need this, man.
Yeah. It just sucks that they keep the fact that they just are not even maximizing their talent at all just is so disheartening because you could clearly tell this team is talented. This team is super talented. Karl-Anthony Towns is a legitimate co-star. Jalen Brunson is legitimate top 10 engine in the league. They clearly have all the pieces. You have the wing.
Yep.
You have the wing depth. You have the center play. Even with Mitch's struggles, he put up 13 and 14 tonight. So you could clearly 13 and 11. Sorry. So he clearly is capable of being able to be a contributor. It just kind of feels like they're missing a few pieces. I mean, this is a good baseline, but it's also we don't know how good this roster can truly be because we haven't given ourselves a chance to see how good this roster could be with different lineups, different variations in talent. And again, if you're just hitting the bare minimum and winning 50 games, it's not enough because you need to see more dynamicism from this lineup, and we haven't seen it all season.
I think if you've watched any of the Minnesota series, it's been really impressive seeing kind of parts of Julius Randle's all-around game. And, he's healthy, which he hasn't always been in the playoffs, but he's also, I think, finally, he's in the right role. Julius Randle is not the best player on a team that's going to compete for a title, but he can be a significant player on a team that is at least a contender for the later rounds. And you see that. I've talked about it before. I think it's the same with coaches. I think Thibodeau was the right person in 2020. Yes. Absolutely. Coming off of the Fizdale, Mike Miller, my two dads year, they needed an adult in the building. They got one. I think Thibodeau has more than done what was hoped for of him. I don't think that there's any to what you're just saying. They're so talented, and yet they play a small rotation of just their most talented guys, and it doesn't seem to pay off. It doesn't seem to it's not like the Knicks are maximizing something by playing all of their there's a more is less kind of quality to this Thibodeau approach at this point. Maybe that was good to get to this point, but I feel if you're going to play basically a 5.5 to 6 man rotation, and it's like you said, it's obviously talented. It's two-way talent. It covers every single offense, defense, shooting, pass. This 5, other than I think, like I said earlier, I think the 5th is not at the level of Boston and Cleveland and OKC. Where everyone in Boston's rotation is a two-way player who can shoot. Just about everyone in Cleveland's rotation is either a two-way player or an explosive shooter. And then with the Knicks, Hart is not, and McBride is not quite, and Mitch certainly is not. And I think Thibodeau has gotten everything he can get. They were the 10th team in NBA history this year to play 5 guys 35 minutes or more. He has gotten every single drop of blood that he can from this stone. I don't think there's anything left. There's nothing new left for Thibodeau and the Knicks to like figure out together. I think this is, and it may be enough to get past Detroit, but I think if your ambition is like beyond the second round, I think you've seen enough now to know like I'm not seeing it. And this isn't Thibodeau losing to Eric Spoelstra. This isn't Thibodeau, this is not the 16 Warriors that the Knicks are having this much trouble with 5 games into the series.
Yeah. I agree.
And like playoffs are not a beauty contest. Like I've seen better Knicks teams lose to worse teams, but like not where it's like a death struggle. Like,
I mean, that begs the question, like, if Tibbs is going to be this much of an anchor, like, is he better? Are we better? And that's the question. Zoning permit. This should have been a sweep considering the Pistons' main experience with playoffs being perennial playoff droppers. Just can't believe this has happened. Yeah. I mean, Tobias Harris being as prevalent as he is, it's just like, you handled Tobias Harris last year. Now, maybe he was just checked out because he knew that he was going to be gone. But, like, the fact that Tobias Harris has been as prevalent as he has.
But even there, that's another. This has been going on at least 4 months, 5 months. As soon as somebody this year, I can't remember who it was early. I don't know if it was Boston. As soon as teams began to play Towns more with tall, forwards and larger wings rather than bigs, like the Knicks had this problem. And all season, I feel like such an asshole because I talked myself into like, okay, we all see it. We're reading articles about it. Like we're writing articles about it. The Knicks see it. The fact that they don't seem to have addressed it obviously is because why would you give away your hand before it matters? They know when they get to the playoffs, teams will guard them this way. They will have, like that's when they'll, but whatever their big counter is, that's when they'll bust it out. And we're 5 games into a series, and Tobias Harris looks like, he might as well be fucking Dennis Rodman shutting down Karl Anthony Towns. And where is the counter? Like, I think that again, just we say this shouldn't be, it shouldn't be going to Game 6. This should be a sweep. I don't know what to take from the regular season because a lot of guys weren't there for this and that game, but like they've played 9 games this year. The Pistons have won 5 of them. The last few months of the season, the Pistons had virtually the same record as the Knicks. I think the Knicks are better, and I think they'll win. But this isn't like the 60-win Knicks were taking on some, 39-win loser like the Hawks or some shit. Like the Pistons have an absolute stud who even like $212 million man OG can't really seem to do anything about.
I think OG handled him beautifully this game. I don't think Jay Cunningham's been nearly a problem as he should be. Like he had 24 points and 17 shots, but he got to the free throw line 12 times because they were just calling jokes of fouls towards the end of the game. But I don't think Cade Cunningham has had an impact. I think it's been the other guys. Like their other guys have been stepping up more than our other guys, which is something that I don't think a lot of people thought going into the series that would happen.
Yeah. Another thing I thought in March when Brunson went down, I tried to be optimistic and see it as like, okay, like this is going to give him a chance to learn lessons that they'll need in the playoffs. Like for if he's hurt or if he's out for, minutes with foul trouble or something, like let's develop something with OG. Let's develop something with Bridges. And they did. And I feel like they're back in the play. They're back now into the swing of things. And this is probably as much Brunson as it is Thibodeau. But like, I don't know if I'm frustrated because of the loss or if I'm identifying something that actually exists. But I feel like I thought when Brunson came back, they would make this best of both worlds. Like, well, he's back, but like they're going to do more of the feature OG. And they have run some stuff more for OG, I think, than for Bridges. But in this game, I felt like it boiled down a lot to we're just going to put the ball in Brunson's hands and let him like he's Carmelo or something, just like figure it all out. And I don't think that's the best way to play the Pistons.
Yeah. Some more comments here. Akiva, how many quarters can you say the Knicks have been the better team this series? Not many, which is an issue.
The 4 fourth quarters before today, maybe.
Yeah,
that's
like
it.
really,
Maybe
like the 3 fourth quarters that they won.
Yeah,
and that's kind of it.
Yep.
I'm getting past angry with this team. They and the coach are just not it. When the series was getting their teeth get caved in by Boston, put us out of our misery. Unfortunately, it is kind of looking that way. And Boston just finished up their series with Orlando. So
they won?
Yeah, they won.
Your only hope is that the Magic might have dislocated enough fingers on that team that it might make a difference next round.
Nope. Luca says, Tips caps our ceiling. I couldn't be more done with the coach. I was reduced with brick for most of the game. I agree. Putting extra stress on ourselves whilst Pacers, Cavs, Boston close out their series. This team, man. Yeah, like, that's the worst part. Like, everybody else finished up their series in 4 or 5, and you're the only team. Like, that just kind of shows you, like, yeah, you are not.
It makes it much more annoying. More annoying. But, I mean, I did not want Detroit. Like, there's a reason I wanted Milwaukee very much late. And you're seeing part of the reason why. Detroit is a nasty little bunch.
Yep. Tom Thibodeau was asked about officiating tonight. It is what it is.
The officiating did not cost the Knicks this game.
Yeah.
There were some bad calls, but the officiating was not an issue tonight.
Yes. John Leary, what do you think the offseason changes are? I think Tibbs gets fired. Do
you?
Yeah, I think he gets fired. I felt like he's getting fired the entire time.
If Brunson wants him to, I know this is all speculation, obviously, because we don't know any of these personalities. But like, if Brunson wants him to stay, do you think he's good? Like, he'll stay?
No, I don't think Brunson cares. I don't think Brunson gets that kind of I don't think Brunson has that kind of sway. Or rather, if he does, he doesn't really use it. Because they traded DiVincenzo. They traded DiVincenzo the day before training camp started. So very clearly, like, they're very much like, I think he's just really hands off with it.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like, whatever you guys do. And I think he's earned that because, like, it's his godfather. So
yeah.
I think that's why he's like been mostly like, okay, hey, like, hands off. Like, if you want your father to have a job in the front office, we could do that. Like, but
yeah,
I think for the most part, he's been pretty like laissez-faire about it.
It's tricky being a Knicks fan and a Ranger fan because you look for signs, like, because Dolan runs both teams, and like he just fired Peter Laviolette, who was like had the Rangers just a year ago on the verge of the Stanley Cup, and like one disappointing season for a Rangers coach is usually enough. If now obviously that there's a different general manager and a different everything, but like the big question for me is Leon Rose is he someone who would say, yeah, I got to cut the cord with this guy? Particularly, I think, like, I can see Leon Rose doing it if you had, especially like, let's say Miami blows up everything to rebuild and Spoelstra doesn't want to be there and he's a free agent coach. Maybe that's someone Leon Rose, like, clearly right away would be like, all right, this guy's the best coach in the world available. I got to go for him. But like, if he's not, I don't know that Leon Rose is going to fire Tom Thibodeau if he doesn't have. I mean, this is all wild speculation because who knows who would be on his list. I think I would like it to happen now, which I don't say lightly because I other than Isaiah, I don't think I've ever wanted a Knicks coach to be fired. I'm always on the side of like, it's not their fault, but like, I don't want Thibodeau. I don't want to see this again next year. I don't want to see another. I don't think it's really going to be any different. I think it's going to be basically the same thing. And they'll win 50 games and they'll kill themselves to do it. But it's such a weird thing where like you're trying to think about possible new coaches while your team heads into game 6 of a play. Like it's very weird. But I just want to enjoy this, and I can't enjoy this because I don't understand what this man is doing.
Yeah. Page 22, every offensive possession takes at least 10 seconds to get to action. That's really grating as well.
And like that's one thing I don't want to watch them play Boston and run that for like 4 or 5 games.
Because Boston will not let you do that. Boston will absolutely punish you because they have way better personnel than the Pistons do. So if you're struggling with it in this series, you're going to struggle with it even more against.
Yeah.
Against them. So
I feel like Tibbs is someone who's like playing 2K and like he's got to spend like all this like money just to be okay on semi-pro, and like the Celtics are waiting in the next round, and like Thibodeau is not the guy to be playing that series, man. It does the tempo thing kills me. Every possession is like just a chore to get into.
Okay. Connor McCollum's spacing and cutting principles are so bad for a veteran team. Ridiculously clutches him or Brunson have amassed a lot of coaching deficiencies. I agree.
Yep.
Asar Thompson was asked how confident he's about the Pistons getting back to New York for a Game 7. Super confident. I mean, they're going to say that, of course.
What was he going to say?
Yeah. The game will do what to do equals I have zero clue of what to do and will use my ISO guy till his knees are sawdust. That's good. My good friend Kevin Lalataris, of course, ignores that even though Deuce plays like ass, and his plus minus are still the best on the team, but the agenda's got an agenda. Give me a second.
So let me say there that the numbers showed all season that the top, I think, 7 Knicks lineups all featured McBride in some way, and yet if you're watching this series, your eyeballs are telling you that like Deuce is having problems. He's not like a walking disaster, but like Miles McBride is not helping the Knicks win this series. I don't care what the plus minus says. You can watch this and see it.
Yes, because you cannot just simply look at data. You have to
Deuce
watch.
Is doing that. This is Frank Ntilikina all over again. Where like you just look at plus minus and up. He's plus again. He must be doing something right. No, not in this case, man.
No, like he scored what 19 points in 5 games.
Right.
Like at some point,
Cam scored as many in that one run as Deuce has.
Essentially, like at some point, this is deeper than like the plus minus. He does not put the ball in the net.
Yep.
And that's kind of important in basketball. It's the most important thing in basketball. No matter what happens, no matter how impactful you are, at some point you need to put the ball in the net. You need to put the ball in the net. Mm-hmm. And he has not done that. Especially as somebody who's supposed to be your 6th man.
No, he's
averaging 5 points in this series.
Yeah.
5 points in 5 points in the series.
And he's not playing such defense that like, all right, he's only scoring 5, but he's locking down everyone he's playing. Like, come on. You can love Deuce. You can love Deuce, but you don't need to deny what's happening in front of your face.
Again, it's just like, and people just talk about his impact. His impact. You are watching these games in real time. What impact is he having?
Yep.
Also, I'm sorry, he's scoring 4 points in the series. 4. I did the math wrong. I realized I forgot we played 5 games.
Wait, in the series?
He's averaging 4 points in the series on 26% from the field and 25% from 3.
So the problem is when you only score 3s, and now you can't. He's got a little bit of that Steve Novak thing. It's not nearly as bad, but like he's got a little bit of that thing where like you're so 3-centric that in the playoffs, like if the other team can just kind of deny you the ball out there, like you don't really present another threat. But this is all their 5th guys. Hart, to his credit, I felt tonight he was taking the shots. He wasn't making them as much, but like he was taking them. But they almost invariably, on paper, I think Miles, on paper, like coming into the series, I thought that Miles might be like a pretty big difference maker because he could be a 5th guy who can give you shooting, can give you spacing, but like I think that's a big problem they have at almost every point. They have someone out there who like cannot reliably shoot or create, and that's always gonna. If they get to the next round of competition, it's really gonna stand out when you start seeing teams that go 7-8 deep, and every single one of them is a person you can't leave open. And you've got basically 5 through 7 in your rotation are either people you can leave open or people that you can blanket, and then that's it. They're done.
Yeah, like the playoffs basically rely on your ability to ad-lib in the half court. Like that is the staple of playoff basketball. And the problem is the Knicks can't really ad-lib.
No, I mean even beyond Brunson, mostly. I think Towns can do more than they ask of him, but like really
for the most part, like he's just like shooting threes.
Yeah,
like his ad-libbing is like getting him more 3-point attempts.
Yes, yeah,
that's his ad-lib. Like Mikal Bridges can like take a mid-range jumper, but he's been having a harder time getting to his spots because of playoff basketball. Right. OG Anunoby's having struggles to like dribble in traffic. Josh Hart is weirdly like a really good ad-libber, which is why like he usually does well in playoff settings because he just makes shit happen, and the playoffs are just about making shit happen. And again, the same thing with Mitchell Robinson, where it's like he'll just have games where it's like he could just make shit happen because he's the best offensive rebounder in the league.
Yeah, and the defense he can.
Yes, like Deuce's quote unquote ad-lib, like is hitting a bunch of threes.
Yeah,
and he hasn't done that. And if he's not going to do that, then his offense is useless.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how good he plays defense. And again, I don't think his defense has been that good this season. I don't think his defense has been good this series. I don't think he's really been able to make a difference against the guy that he really needs to make a difference against, which is Schroeder. And Schroeder has torched us the entire series.
Yeah. I did that. Like,
sorry.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
And I was saying, like, this is the same thing that happened last year, where TJ McConnell gave him issues.
Campaign had a big series against the Knicks last year.
Like, I think you're seeing a common thread here where it's like strong, small guards, Deuce can't really handle.
Yeah.
And it's great that he can defend the point of attack. If your point of attack defender is a 6-foot guard, you don't have good point of attack defense in the playoffs. Especially when their best player is 6'6".
Yeah, I mean, Deuce got long arms, but he's not that.
He's never been strong enough. He's never been strong enough.
No, he's not.
Like, the way the NBA works, essentially, is if you're 6 feet, you need to be a very, very good offensive player. Because there are 6'6", 6'8", 7'10" dudes who are able to do the shit that you do.
Yep.
Like, that's how it works.
Yep.
And that's not how it was, like, even 10 years ago. But, like, in 2025, the Knicks are going to go face a team if they win this series. They have a 6'10" point forward. Like, a 6'10" point forward. I live in San Antonio. There's a 7'5" dude here who shoots threes. Like, being like, if you're going to be small, you basically need to get it off on the offensive end.
Yeah. Because
you're just going to be too small to do a lot of things. And the problem is, unless you're a star, 6-foot guys are usually not the guys you want to go to. And when, like, the Knicks have struggled in his minutes. The Knicks struggle in his minutes. I don't care how good he is defensively. And again, he hasn't been able to do the things that he needs to do defensively in this series. They've struggled in his minutes. He sucks on offense. He's giving them 4 points a game on 39 true shooting.
And you'd like to see, I mean, we'll see what happens next game. He's had moments in the past, but this is a reason why, no matter what comes of this, the positive of your team. I was thinking this would happen more against Boston and not Detroit, but the positive of your team being there is like, this is when you have to find out, you test your hypothesis. This is your roster. What happens when your roster is really subjected to the most rigorous of opposition? All right, Deuce is maybe a game 1 through 82 player, and for what they pay Deuce, especially the next couple of years, that can be good. Like, Deuce can be a really good eighth man who helps you get through game 1 through 82 and can come and he's had moments. If Mitch doesn't fuck up that foul against Maxey last year, Deuce would have hit the game clinching jumper to win that series. Like, we know he can have moments, but like, he shouldn't be the eighth. He shouldn't be the sixth man. He should be more like your eighth man. But I don't know. Someone asked earlier in one of the comments, like, what about the offseason? Like, I don't understand enough about the cap to even know what they can or can't do. But I think like you're saying, I think Deuce can do things, but if Deuce is your six, that's miscast. That's a little miscast. He shouldn't be your best. He's a very good player for what they pay him. Deuce makes like $4 million a year. Awesome. But even there, like, difference between the Knicks and some of these other teams, the Celtics have a guy like Pritchard, who's also on like a really good contract for what he does. But like, if you've watched any of the Celtic Magic series, like, Pritchard's awesome. Pritchard's been on the floor at the end of these very close games, and the Deuce is not quite there.
Yeah, I agree. Try to get through some other comments here. Josh Hart was asking which is bothering him. My whole body's bothering me.
That fall was rough looking.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Josh Hart says the Knicks need to do a better job coming out of halftime. We go into halftime with the lead, and then we go into the fourth quarter down, so we've got to figure that out. It's been a common trend. So I don't know what's going on, but like, that speaks to coaching.
That sounds a lot like the coaching, and like an indirect way of pointing out the coaching.
Yeah. Bridges doesn't get credit for having some good games. We gave up our future for him. I think that's a very archaic way of looking at it. I mean, Bridges has helped his team win more than he's helped them lose, and I think
yes, definitely.
I think him and OG have done their job. Offensively, yes. Have they struggled? Absolutely. I will completely agree with that.
Although I do think in series where Brunson's taking as much of the ball and as many of the shots that he is, I don't know how much that's helping anyone else get in a rhythm, including Towns.
Yeah. Like, again, despite the fact that Mikal Bridges hasn't been able to do it offensively, defensively, he's been great, especially on the person of interest in Cade.
Yeah.
Tips doesn't have a high coaching ceiling. He's good with developmental, but can't coach a championship caliber team. The Bulls back in 2011 should have beat the Heat that series. Fair. I think that's fair. Knicks Sisters was a war between two ECF caliber teams. Knicks Pistons is two middling teams crashing and clawing for the right to get destroyed. That's a good way to put it.
It is weird that I think these Knicks are better in some ways than a year ago, and I think the Pistons are worse than the Sixers, and yet
I think the Knicks are better than they were last year. The problem is, I think last year, they just I think last year they had a little bit more. Like Alec Burks was legitimately like 12 points per game on like 65 true shooting in the Pacers series, and I don't if the Knicks had that, they would win the series for sure.
Is this series, in your mind, do you remember the Philly series being tighter than this one?
The Philly series was like insanely tight. Like every single one of those games come down to the last second. Like every single one of these games comes down to the last second.
Yep.
But it's because like the Knicks are playing like idiots. That's why it makes it more frustrating. It's like they're just playing like idiots.
It is. It's like last year they rose to that finale, and this year they're like sinking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry. Josh Hart in the message going to Game 6. We got to go out there and compete. We got to go out there and be physical. Not worry about the foul calls or refs or anything like that. We got to make sure that we can control what we can control.
That sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, sounds good. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, your two leading players are obsessed with the refs 24/7. So someone's got to make a change there.
Kid Kuro says the series going to 6 games. I think officially seals Tibbs' fate with this team. Don't forget to report that they became close not just on the Boston series, but also Detroit. Yeah, like there's no way you can look at the series and go, yeah, Tom Thibodeau is the right guy to coach, especially if you get waxed by Boston. Like, you're the only series in the East to go 6.
At least
6. Like, you're the only series in the East to go at least 6. The West might even wrap up their series early. Like, Minnesota can win in 5.
right.
The Warriors can win in 5. Thunder already won.
And so does your Galaxy brain prefer? Would you rather have the Knicks lose to Detroit if it meant Tibbs is 100% gone versus beating Detroit and that makes it like 50-50?
I mean, I want to beat Detroit because Detroit's annoying me.
Okay.
And I'm not ready just yet to fully switch on to the Mets. I'm trying to at least turn like the split screen is working right now.
This is a good year to switch to the Mets, but I hear you.
Yes, I don't want to switch solely to the Mets. At least let me enjoy like the nice like playoff basketball and the Mets being the best team in the league. By the way, best team in the league. But yeah. Yeah, Hawkeye 420 Damian Miranda is finally at the Tips got to go part.
I say it very hesitantly because I really do mean, like, other than Isaiah, I've never wanted a coach in my life fired. I think they're always scapegoated. I understand the logic of we can't replace the whole team, so we replace the coach, but I still think that's like bullshit capitalist logic. But I do think at this point, if your aspiration is beyond the second round, and it is, and like 2 years ago, it wasn't. In 2023, like beating the Cavs from where the Knicks had been, like that was enough at that point. And I felt like last year was progress over the year before. And I felt like this year, I really think it's like a video game where like you raise the difficulty level a little bit. And it's like anything you think of in life. You think of an instrument, like you're good at an instrument, but like there may be just a certain level of piece that like it's just beyond you. Like, it doesn't mean that you suck. Like, just that thing is beyond you. There's I think I figured out a couple of weeks ago, there's like maybe 9 coaches, I think, who at the time, because Malone at the time was still employed, who had won titles. There's not a bunch of guys walking around that have won titles. I don't think everybody can do it. I don't think this man can do it. I think he gets you from crawl to walk, and he can even get you from walk to like a light jog. But like if this team is going to run, literally, figuratively, whatever, I don't need to see much more. I feel like I've seen enough, you know? Like I've seen enough to know this is what it is. This, you know, you've been married a few years, you know what the person is. It's not going to be what it isn't. This is what it is. This man is not the person who's going to get them to the highest peaks. It's not a perfect roster. I don't know that a better coach would get any farther with this team this year. But I do think a better coach would already be looking forward to the Celtics.
Yeah. Close it out there. That's the only thing we're thinking about. Make your free throws, buddy. No showered of any deuce for playing like dog shit and very clearly playing with piss on his leg. Massive deuce fan. He's been asked this year. No way, dude. Bruno plus minus to come from Miles. Yeah, be nice to Kevin, please.
I just want to point out that it's 2 piss and 2 ass references from McBride. The Knicks fans are in a filthy mood tonight when it comes to this team.
Yeah, we're getting saucy. We think West on the hard play next game. That's interesting. I don't know.
I think they will. I don't think they.
I mean, they kind of have to because there's no way you're going to go marbles game 7. Like,
no, they're going to play. They're going to play. The question is, should they? Yes. And it's almost like this is Thibodeau's like fantasy come true. That like to go into it, like this is almost sick. I almost feel like I want to double check and find out if Thibodeau has been secretly like putting like, I don't know, like dehydrating their drinks so they would get muscle cramps. Like he's got to love this. He's got to love just running out of guys, and he gets to play it the way he's going to play 5 guys 45 minutes in Game 7. That's where it's going to be. That's where we're headed.
I do think the second half thing where nobody subs out is on the table. By the way, I fully believe that's on the table.
It worked so well for Redick.
It's on the table. But anyway, Davion is better than Deuce. Don't show Stacy. Don't show Stacy. I'm screen capping this.
Davion had a nice postseason.
Uh,
Or if anyone had a nice postseason for Miami, he did.
He's gonna get paid. It makes me sad. I really wanted him. I'd rather have Shabbat out there in the Deuce. Like they need something. They need something.
He can space, yeah. I mean, he can. There's something he can do.
Go through some other comments. He's always bites on the pump fake. That too, yeah. Biting on the pump fake. Like he has basically been on Schroeder's pump fakes all series, and it's not been positive. All right. Deuce doesn't have anything but a jumper, no handles, no shot creation, no floater, and no layup package. It also doesn't help that he's 6'1". Wow, you think it's almost like I've been saying this the entire season. It's crazy it took this long to finally get through the people. But you know what? Persistence personified.
I feel like with his arms, like a floater, he's got such long ass arms.
I'm just shocked. I'm shocked he doesn't have a floater. Like, how do you have a floater? As a guard, you need to have a floater.
He seems like a guy who should be money, like pulling up free throw line extended. Like,
and he is, which is why it's shocking to me that he doesn't have a floater. Like, you need a floater to be an NBA player. Like, or an NBA guard, you need to have a floater. You need to have a floater.
And I would hope, like, I think he's not just as a competitor, but like, I mean, literally financially, like, I think he's going to be pretty driven to try to get a good second contract wherever it is. I would not be surprised if Deuce comes back next year having added something, because it's so obvious that he needs it.
All right. Okay. Omar Yusuf, 8th man are expendable, and that's all Deuce is. The whole steal of contract thing is as far as we need him to be better. Makes you think. Wow, it's like almost like I've said this the entire season. God, like I know we're a 2-0 horn here, but like I've been saying this the entire season.
Toot some.
Toot. Okay. Try to go through some more comments here before we wrap up. Cat on what he wants to do differently in Game 6. Good answer. Mm-hmm. Carlos and he sounds like asked what he would like to do differently going to Game 6. Win the game. That would have been on top of my list for sure. I agree. Last year's team was fully optimized for tips. This year they're not. I mean, yeah, that's a good part of it, but it's also like they were basically like playing 40 minutes for like three fucking months. Like they were insanely like. Yeah. And then Jalen Brunson was again like an insane shot maker versus Embiid, who's a notorious playoff dropper. So, yeah. Carlton Towns talks about the Knicks being behind going to the fourth quarter of games in the series. You could only do it so many times before it comes back to bite you. Like, I think they all are like, yeah, dude, like, we can't keep having these third quarters. And, again, I feel like the team just got checked out. I really do think the team is checked out on them. Do you think Jalen Brunson is scoring 40 points and having an amazing floor game in Game 6? And a follow-up question, do you think the Knicks will win the game if that happens? If he scores 40, they win the game.
That I agree with.
If he scores 40, they win the game. Because he has – if he scores 40, they win the game. Like, straight up. Basically, everybody else would need to, like, shit themselves.
My concern is that, given that he's now turning that ankle, like, every other day, like –
yeah. Like, at some point, like, that's going to have to, like –
yeah. That's what's worrying me. And that too. Like, that's another – this is just a little thing. It's just a little thing. But, like, after he had hurt his ankle, there was a possession where they were going to foul – I can't remember who it was. They were going to foul someone on Detroit. If you have a defensive possession in the last couple of seconds where you know the entire purpose of what we're about to do is run around, it's when they almost got the steal, I think, maybe, and fouled. And to be fair, you know, Brunson almost came away with the steal on that. But just in theory, I felt like if he just turned his ankle again, like, just get 5 guys out there with healthy ankles. He's not such an incredible defensive player that, like, you have to – he's not Gary – you know, he doesn't have to be out there. But he's out there on his bum ankle, and to his credit, he almost came away with the steal. And I guess if he did, that would justify what Thibodeau did. And, like, You can't question the heart of a blah blah of a captain and a leader and blah blah blah. But like, he literally just fucked up his ankle, and Tibbs like, go ahead, go out there and chase Dennis Schroeder around to try to foul him. That's just another like, not to me, not a reason to feel like good about this.
Yeah,
just a little thing. But like going into Game 6, the question should not. This is not last year. The question should not be, do you think we can get 40 from Brunson? Like, it's sad that we're asking that at this point, because the whole point of this team, and I feel like Towns has shown he has the capacity to do it. They just don't use him as much as they should. The whole point of the 2025 Knicks was that they weren't going to have to be in the first round against the Pistons, wondering, can Brunson get us 40 and rescue us in Game 6? It wasn't supposed to come down to this. That's an indictment of something.
Yes, absolutely. That's literally what I mean.
Nobody's out. Nobody's out injured. This is the best laid plans, and the best laid plans have you crossing your fingers that the Pistons don't take you to Game 7 when they've already won 4 times in Madison Square Garden this year.
Yes, we haven't beat them in Madison Square Garden this year.
Well, Game 1.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
but 4 out of 5 they haven't. And obviously at this point, the Pistons don't have any fear.
Yeah, they don't have any fear, and I mean, you could say they haven't won at home either. Not to mention, like,
right,
they're still looking for their first home win since 2008, so they're not going to be juiced to that game. Like, you can't let them get Game 6.
No.
If they get Game 6, I don't think the Knicks are winning Game 6. Probably.
Can you imagine if it's like Sunday Game 7 and the Knicks are down like 12 in the third?
It'd be Saturday Game 7 too. That's the worst part. Like, ew.
Yeah. Oh my God, it would be worse.
Yeah. Like, not so much like Game 7, sure, whatever. Saturday Game 7 is gross.
I've seen some brutal Saturday Game 7 losses. It ruins your whole weekend. It's worse than the Sunday. It's worse than the Sunday.
Okay. Probably the last one from John Larry. Do Knicks extend Bridges this offseason? Yes.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think that's already was discussed before they acquired him.
Yeah, they'll extend him. He's been good on the season in the aggregate. He's been fine.
Yeah.
But
plus, when they trade OG for Giannis, they're going to need to keep Bridges around to play guard anyway. So
basically,
sorry, did I say that? Sorry.
But okay. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Thank you, everybody.
To kind of break down this horrific loss and hopefully build a bit of optimism towards Thursday in Game 6 at the LCA, is what as they call it, the Little Caesars Arena. Hopefully they're able to win, and hopefully we're able to wrap up this series from hell. But thank you guys, and see you guys on Thursday.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.